This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 340, 10 Ways to Relaxify Your Workspace, Part 2 by Steve Pavlina of stevepavlina.com. And hi again, I'm Dan. I am your host and narrator, reading to you every single day right here to help you optimize your life. What we do is we take the best blogs that we can find on entrepreneurship, we reach out to the authors, we get their permission to share their content, and then we bring it to you right here in short 5 to 10 minute installments each and every day. So today I've got a continuation post from yesterday. That was part 1 of 10 ways to relaxify your workspace. And if you haven't heard part 1, you should definitely check that out. That's episode 339. But if you're all caught up, let's move on to part 2 as we continue optimizing your life. 10 Ways to Relaxify Your Workspace, Part 2 by Steve Pavlina of stevepavlina.com. 5. Play relaxing music. Experiment with different types of music to see what effect they have on your stress level and productivity. Use headphones if you need to keep from disturbing others. I prefer total silence when I do certain types of work, but for everyday tasks, I like listening to music, and my favorite types of music are vocal trance and new age. 6. Get a decent chair. Most likely you'll use your chair more than any other object in your workspace, so consider investing in a good one. Today there's an assortment of oddities that you can sit on, including knee chairs, balls, and more. Head to an office supply store and find something that suits you. If your company won't get you a decent chair, then consider buying your own. I don't own a super expensive chair. I think it was $200 originally, but it works for me. It keeps my spine straight, and I can sit for hours without pain or discomfort. I tested dozens of different chairs before picking this one. It's about 10 years old now, though, so this would probably be a good time for me to take another look to see if I can find an even better one. I've heard really good things about the Aeron desk chairs. On the other hand, it might be more fun to upgrade to a throne. 7. Add a portable fan. Even with good air conditioning, you might have periods where you just want to feel a little cooler, or maybe you'd like a bit of air circulation. Use a small portable fan to keep your comfort level right where you want it to be. Today's high in Las Vegas is 105 degrees Fahrenheit, and later this week it's supposed to hit 110. Midsummer temperatures can exceed 120 degrees. Even with the air conditioning on, it can still get a little warm in my home office during the summer. A portable fan is a nice addition to my workspace. The Vornado fans are really good. They're a little bit more expensive, but well worth it. They run quiet and circulate the air nicely. 8. Add a fountain. If you find the sounds of running water soothing, consider adding a small fountain to your workspace. You can get a basic one for under $20. Last year, I added an illuminated rock garden fountain to the corner of my home office. I plugged the power supply into the same power base I use for my PC equipment, so I can simply flip a switch in front of me to turn it on. I probably run it about 8 hours a day on average, and I add water about once every 3 days. When I hear the fountain running low, I'm reminded to water my plants too. 9. Personalize your space. Does your workspace look like an automaton works there, or does it include elements that are uniquely you? Remember that your workspace is your living space for much of the day, so make it livable and not just workable. A good way to accomplish this is by adding items that hold emotional significance for you. Photographs are an easy way to personalize your space. I have some typical family photos in my office and the requisite wedding picture, but there's one particular photo from when my wife and I first met that was taken by my now-deceased grandfather that's very special to me. I like being able to see it when I work. It also reminds me that I'm not alone. My wife and I are sharing a wonderful path together, and I've seen plenty of signs that my grandfather is watching over us. 10. Establish uninterruptible periods. Negotiate a period of time each day where you turn off all outside communication and encase yourself in a cocoon of concentration. Put up a do not disturb sign, turn off your phone, disable your instant messenger, and don't check email either. Use this time to work on the tasks that would cause you the greatest stress or which require your utmost concentration. It's easier to relax and focus when you know you won't be interrupted. Some jobs obviously require more solo concentration time than others. A computer programmer may need a lot, while a receptionist may need virtually none. Determine how much you need to be productive and do whatever is necessary to get it. When I really need to concentrate, I usually lock my office door. My family sometimes objects to these communication blackouts, but with 2 kids at home on summer vacation now, I find it necessary to enforce some boundaries in order to get my work done. I'm not particularly friendly or compassionate when I get interrupted while writing, so this is largely for their own safety. Now go do it. Take a moment to survey your workspace and jot down a few changes you'd like to make. How can you make your workspace even more relaxing, livable, and attractive? If cash is tight, set a budget for how much you'd like to spend on relaxifying your workspace. Maybe you can even get your employer to pay for some of it, especially if it's likely to boost your productivity. What if your employer rejects the changes you'd like to make? Some changes are certainly negotiable because of their side effects. Your coworkers may not appreciate the scent of jasmine wafting through their workspaces. But if your employer is downright ogre-like and won't permit you a plant or a family photo, well, I'd recommend getting a new employer. Your work should support your preferred lifestyle, not squash it. Think about the most relaxing places you know of. What is it about those places that makes you feel good? What are the sights, sounds, and smells? How can you modify your workspace to create a similar feel? You might not be able to duplicate the feeling perfectly, but you can always get close. If you don't have time for a complete workspace makeover, then just make one little change each week. Add a photo, buy a plant, clean up the junk pile, relaxify, and enjoy. You just listened to part 2 of the post titled 10 Ways to Relaxify Your Workspace by Steve Pavlina of stevepavlina.com. And that concludes Steve's post from yesterday. A little bit more about him. He is a really fascinating guy. Before he started blogging about personal growth back in 2004, he ran his own computer game development company for 10 years, mostly focused on non-violent puzzle games. For 5 of those years, he wrote articles on the side to help other software and game developers, and then readers kept requesting more articles on a wider and wider range of topics, which eventually motivated him to get into blogging. He retired from game development when he realized that he could create more positive ripples in the world by shifting to personal development work. He says he still enjoys programming and occasionally writing his own software tools to assist with personal growth experiments. And nowadays, he does everything he can to support the growth of readers of his blog. So come check it all out at stevepavlina.com, and you can find that linked in this episode's description at oldpodcast.com. All right, I'm going to keep this ending short as we wrap up our weekend with this Sunday episode. But if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to this show in your favorite podcast app. That's, of course, going to give you all the new episodes automatically, so you're always caught up. You can also hit the follow button depending on what app you are using. Either way would be just great, and thanks so much for subscribing. But that will do it for another edition of Optimal Startup Daily. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.